The anxiety queen is back. So as you can see by the title, today's video revolves around mental health and what it's like to go into a mental facility. I have struggled with mental health my entire life pretty much. I've had anxiety for as long as I can remember. Depression didn't come around until my teenage years, but it's sure stuck around since then. So I'm very familiar with mental health. And my whole life, I tried to keep it inside. You're kind of taught, like, leave your problems at the door, don't cry, nobody wants to hear about it, other people have worse problems than you. Like, basically, we're all told all these things our whole life about how mental health is just gotta take a backseat to everything else. Having a rough day? Too bad. Fight through it. Don't show your emotion. And I was able to do that for a long time. I was the girl who never cried at movies. I kept it in, and I hated crying in front of people. You would never see me cry unless I was super upset, and I just tried my best to keep everything inside because I didn't want to not be normal. I didn't want to be the weird one, so I just kind of kept it all inside. It wasn't until last year in 2018 where my PMDD really just took over. For those of you who don't know what PMDD is, I have a video that I made already. I'll put the link below. But basically, when I was 26, my life got turned upside down and my hormones and PMDD just skyrocketed, and I became suicidal and I wanted to kill myself pretty much almost every day. And that landed me in a mental hospital, as you can imagine. So I've actually been to 2 mental hospitals. I actually don't know what the term for them is. Mental hospital, whatever. I call them the loony bin or when I get locked up. That's just how I refer to it. If you get offended, don't really care. So I call it the loony bin. My 2 experiences were very different from each other. So I'm going to talk about the first one and then go into the second one. So the first time I went into the loony bin was December of 2018. I was texting my friends pretty much every day, just like saying I want to die, I want to slit my throat, I want to do all these things, and they kind of teamed together and took me to a mental hospital where I stayed. So the first one they took me into, it's just so bleak inside. Like, there's nothing on the walls. It's like your insides are like expressed outside into the building. Like, it's just not a happy look. And so I admitted myself in, and how it works here in Florida, I don't know if it's different between states or whatever, but you usually stay about 72 hours, and you're supposed to see the doctor within the first 24 hours, and then they kind of decide what happens after the 24 hours, if you need to stay, if you can go, whatever. Once I got checked in, they took everything from me. And when I say everything, I mean everything. These earrings, gone. These bracelets, gone. This shirt, gone. My bra, gone. My shoes, gone. Everything except for my underwear was taken from me and locked up, and I wasn't allowed to touch it for the next 3 days. So what did I wear? They gave me, the first outfit they gave me was just like these blue, like, what's the term that like nurses wear? Scrubs. I always call them scrubs. Scrubs. So it was similar to that, and I felt weird because I didn't have a bra on, but luckily it was very like big, so it kind of covered it, and I was like, all right, I can do this. I don't remember the shoes they gave me, honestly. And I sat there, and the thing that happens a lot in mental facilities is you sit and you wait a lot, and you're just stuck with your mind while you wait and wait and wait to see the doctor. So I waited in that room for probably like an hour or 2 before they moved me into the waiting room. Now, I went in right before Christmas, which I guess is a very busy time, so they didn't have enough room for everybody, and they were struggling to find rooms for everybody, and it was kind of like the more important cases were going to the doctor first. And so I guess I wasn't like important. So I was stuck in a room for, this was the worst, one of the worst days of my life. I was stuck in a room smaller than my bedroom. It was big enough to fit 3 or 4 grown women laying down. They gave us a bed which was like those really pathetic thin mattresses that are like this, that you see it like when you go to camp during summer camp. It's just like that pathetic, like padded, like there's nothing in it. It just feels like nothing. So I had that, and I had a blanket, and that's all I had. And I stayed in that room for, God, I can't really remember, but it was over 24 hours, and I was losing my mind. I couldn't go anywhere. The only places I could go were that room, a little hallway, there were 2 bathrooms, and then a room where everybody was watching the movie. I didn't want to go in the room where everybody was watching the movie because some guys were being kind of weird towards me, and they weren't allowed in my room because it was a girls only room. So I just went to my room, because every time I go out, they're like, hey, what's your name? And I'm just like, this isn't Tinder. I'm not here to find a man, so let's not do that. And I also did not have my contacts in because I wanted to sleep, so I had them take my contacts. When you do have contacts or something like that and you have them put it away, it's very hard to get them back, because you have to ask someone for permission, and then they have to message the people who are in charge of that, and then they have to agree or disagree, and then somebody has to bring it down. So it can take like an hour, maybe more, to get your contacts. So I was just like, I can't even see the movie because my contacts are already out, so I'm just gonna stay in this room. Now, the bathroom situation, that was unique. So I didn't realize it at the time, but the bathroom that I was closest to was a part of the confinement room. I can't remember if that's the right term or not. Basically the room where if someone's causing trouble and needs to be by themselves, that's what they put them in. And right next to that's a bathroom. And the bathroom, the door is like a swinging door. It doesn't close. You can't close it. So when I was peeing, someone could literally just boop and open the door. And that's not even the worst of it. There was a window. So someone could literally just go, what you doing in there? And I was just super paranoid anytime I went in. I didn't realize at the time there wasn't the other bathroom was actually like a normal one, but you also had to ask for somebody to unlock the bathroom door. They keep all the bathroom doors locked, so anytime you have to pee, you have to ask for permission to get that bathroom unlocked. And I was like, well, it's easier to just go in the bathroom that doesn't even close than it is to constantly be like, hey, can you open the bathroom for me? My night there was pretty awful. Trying to sleep was next to impossible. I suffer from insomnia quite a bit, and when I did finally fall asleep, all of a sudden I'd hear somebody just banging on the door saying, let me out, let me out, let me out. As soon as he stops, I start to doze off. Another girl, let go of my fucking legs. She actually cracked me up a little bit because I was like, she's relatable. I don't know what they were doing. I was like half asleep and I could only hear the situation. I think they were trying to like restrict her or whatever, and she did not like them grabbing her leg because they were like, ma'am, I need you to cooperate. She'd be like, let go of my fucking leg. And so I couldn't really sleep with that going on either. You know, the guy who did get put into the confinement room, you know, I heard somebody saying, hey, so-and-so's trying to hang himself with a towel, and that's what got him thrown in. So, I mean, it's pretty much what you would expect it to be like. There was a girl who was just like talking to herself and saying things like, he's throwing magic at me, and I also didn't want to go in the room because she always looked at me. Every time I went in there, I'd go to get a drink of water, and she'd just be like watching me the whole time, and I was like, okay, like, can we not? So I pretty much stayed in that room because I just didn't want to deal with anybody else, and that's the lowest one of the lowest moments I've ever had. If I had had the means to kill myself in that moment, I would have done it. But I didn't have anything because they took everything from me. So I had to just keep waiting and waiting, and I was supposed to see the doctor in 24 hours. Well, 24 hours came and went, and they still hadn't found a room for me, and you can't see a doctor until they like find a room. I talked to 2 people for about 5 minutes each in that time period, and those were like the only moments that I was like, oh my god, like finally someone understands, because a lot of the staff that's there to watch you, as far as I know, they don't seem to have a grasp on mental health as much as the doctors. They just are there to keep you safe. So they don't show as much sympathy. The more you cooperate and the more you listen to them, the better they'll treat you. And I hate to say that, but it's true. I saw people who were, you know, a little off and didn't always listen, and they got like yelled at, and whenever they asked for something, they got told no. But when I asked for something, it was, yeah, sweetie, sure, whatever you want. So the people that were more quiet and more cooperative usually got better treatment. So they finally found a place for me. I still don't have contacts at this point, so I can't see. And I started going crazy. I went outside the room and I sat against the wall and I was just like this. And they were like, what are you doing? And I was like, I'm going crazy. I'm going stir crazy. I was like, I've been here for so long and they just didn't even seem to care. And I was just like, okay, I guess I'll just lose my fucking mind right here on this floor. And about 10 minutes after that happened, they're like, oh, we found a room for you, but it's at another location, so we're gonna have to send you there. So I had to get on a bus with a couple other people, not a bus, a van, with a couple other people and be driven across town to this new place. And I was excited. It was the first time I saw daylight in like over 24 hours, so I was like, whoa. And so I got there, and they take you in one by one, and they make you undress yourself, basically. If they want to see any scars on you, just check out your body. And I had to do the squat and cough, which was not fun. Because side note, people who really have no idea what PMDD is, it's linked to my period, and it makes me go batshit crazy until my period starts. So every time I've gone to a mental hospital, it's right before my period starts. So my period started the day I was entered into the facility. I had to do the squat and cough while I'm on my period. I was like, I'm on my period, and they're like, ooh, I'm sorry, but you gotta do it. And then they made me pee in a cup, only to then toss it as, like, they just, like, I don't know if they just wanted to see if I could or what, but they didn't even do anything with it. They just dumped it, and I was like, that was pointless. So then I got a new outfit, and it was a purple long sleeve that was pretty form-fitting, and gray sweatpants, and really uncomfortable flip-flops that were plastic and kept digging into my toe, and when I left I had like a rash. But the shirt, I didn't have a bra on still, and it was form-fitting, and I was in a very cold building, and I was just like, are you kidding me? Like, why do you have to do this to me? So I get put in there, and at this point I'm just bawling because I'm like, these people don't give a fuck. They're just holding me captive. They're not gonna help me. Like, why am I here? I'm just here to be tortured. Like, this only makes me want to kill myself more. So I'm just bawling in the middle of the room, and some lady calls me in the back and talks to me, and she's like, what's going on, blah blah blah. And I was like, I have depression, and you know, I have suicidal thoughts and all that stuff. And talking to her made me feel better. She described what it was going to be like. Basically, once you actually get a room and like get in, it's not as bad, but the waiting game is horrible. So she told me it was very scheduled. You have breakfast at this time, you have lunch at this time, you have dinner at this time, you go to bed at this time, your only chance to shower is this time, blah blah blah. Very, very scheduled, very strict. One thing that was really hard for me is, like, I never got consistent sleep. I only got to sleep like 4 or 5 hours before someone would wake me up. Oh, you need to wake up, nap time is over. Oh, you need to wake up when you take your vitals. Oh, you need to wake up, it's time to eat. Oh, you know, always interrupted. So I was constantly exhausted. The food was just, I mean, I'm sure you can imagine, it's not great. And after a couple days, it was starting to make my stomach really upset. So I stopped eating some of it because I was like, I'm just gonna puke. So my stomach was hurting so bad. Because I was on my period, it also hurt. Anytime I needed a pad, I had to go up, say, hey, can I have a pad? And then hold the pad, and then go up to somebody, say, hey, can you open the bathroom for me? So everybody knows that I'm on my period. So showering. So I'm a hairdresser, okay? If there's one thing I'm not gonna mess with, it's this on my head. Especially having this red color, like red fades the fastest. And I was like, so what do you guys have for shampoo and conditioner? And they were like, soap. And I was like, oh, hell no. I was like, I am not putting soap on this. I will leave my hair greasy as can be until I get out of here. I am not doing it. So I'd wash everything else and then just not touch my hair. And now what's interesting about the shower is the shower only stays on for maybe like 5 minutes, and then it shuts off. And then you have to turn it on again, and then it shuts off. And then you have to turn it on again. So showering could be annoying because you're like, oh my god, let me turn it on over and over again. Oh man, so the girl that I roomed with was the same girl that like stared at me when I was at the water fountain, and she was a trip. So she did not sleep at all. I was with her the whole time that I was there. She went with me on the bus. She went with me to the new place. and we ended up being roommates together. I never really saw her sleep, barely saw her go to the bathroom, so this girl was out of it by the time we were there, and I was making my bedding, and she comes up to me, and she's just like this, and she like crashes into me, and I was like, is this where I die? Like, is she gonna kill me? Like, so I was like, your bed's over there. And she was like, oh, here. And I was like, no, over there. And I'm trying to like be loud so that the people outside will hear and come in and like be like, deal with her. So eventually they came in, but I was just like, why are you in my space? I was like, this is how I'm gonna die, because she just was like coming at me, and I was like, nope. I finally saw the doctor on the second day, and they put me on an antidepressant, and that was my first time ever being put on an antidepressant. And I remember like instantly I could like just feel my brain like calming down, and I could also feel it in my stomach. My stomach was getting really upset, and I just remember being sitting there like this, like, oh my god. So towards the last couple days, a few people came in who I related to a little bit more, and I was able to talk with them, and we all talked about, depression. And I remember there was one guy who had just tried like slitting his wrists, and he had them all stitched up, and I remember I'd never seen anything like that before, because even though I had thought about killing myself a lot, I'd never actually attempted. And so I was just like, oh my god, it's real. And then they were talking about how they wear rubber bands to go like this to give themselves pain, and I was just like, I don't understand, because at the time I didn't do any self-harm, so I was just like, I don't get it. But it was nice to like have people understand, what it was like, and we could like bitch to each other about like, did you hear what the fucking doctor said to me? Like, he wants to keep me here, like I'm trying to get out before Christmas and all that stuff. Towards the end, you just want to get out. You don't even feel like they're gonna help you. You just want to get out. You hate it in there, because you're just sitting there in a very confined area for days on end, and they're telling you what to do. You feel like you're a child. Like, if you walk too close to a certain door, they say, hey, get back here. Or, if you want to go to bed at a certain time, they're going to say, nope, it's not bedtime. You got to stay up. And it's just so exhausting. So when I came out, I had lost 4 pounds because my stomach was so upset, and the food and everything. And I never get bags under my eyes. I had the most horrific bags under my eyes. Like, I remember I looked in the mirror and I was so shocked. I was like, I look like 20 years older than what I really am. They also put me on anxiety medications, and then I had to go back like once a month or once every 3 months for an evaluation to see how the meds were doing and everything. And so that lasted for a couple months until it stopped working. And I think it was June when I had to go in again. Long story short, I don't know what I said in the messages to my friend, but she called the cops on me, and the cops checked me in. They saw the messages, and they were like, yeah, we have to take you in on this. And I was just like, no, I don't want to go in. I was like, if I go in again, I'm going to kill myself. Like, it's so awful in there. And I had been scratching my thighs really bad, so the police could see that my thighs were just scratched up and red, and so they were like, yeah, we're taking you in. So I rode in the back of a cop car and the whole time I was yelling at the police woman about how it was my ovaries and it was PMDD, and there was nothing they could do to help me, and it was just going to be an awful experience. So she pulled me up to this place, and this was a new different facility. They stuck me in a room to wait, and I was just in a mood. I was in a mood. And they're like, can you fill out this paperwork? And I was like, no! And they're like, okay. And, while I was in there, there was a guy that came in that had handcuffs behind his back. And I was like, oh my god, what is this guy handcuffed for? What's he gonna do to me? Oh my god, they're taking his handcuffs off. What's gonna happen? And I was just like nervous, because I'm like, I didn't come in handcuffs, so what did he do to come in handcuffs? Turns out, like, his side of the story was that his wife called the cops on him, and, I kind of heard the police side of the story in his, because he was arguing with the police, and he was like, I'm gonna sue you. That's the thing a lot of people say to the cops and stuff there. I'm gonna sue you. Just wait till you hear my lawyer. You're gonna lose your job. And the cop's just like, cool, can't wait. So he was, under the influence of alcohol, and I remember when he walked in, he just looked at me and he went, "Hi," and I was just like, and so he started talking to this other girl that was in the room, and she was in there for like rehab purposes, and finally he just looks over me and he goes, "Are you okay?" And I'm in a mood, so I'm like, "Do I look okay to you?" And he's like, I don't know anything about you. I just saw you, and someone told me to say hi to you, and I was like, "I'm suicidal and I want to die," like all just over dramatic, over the top. Really, please check my PMDD video, it will make so much more sense. And he was like, "No, why do you want to die? You're so young." I was like, "Doesn't matter." And then one thing that would always piss me off is people, whenever I go in there, people say, "Why are you in here? You're so pretty," or whatever, and I'm just like, what does that have to do with anything? Like, since when does, attractiveness suddenly make you immune to mental disorders? Like, if that were the case, we would never have celebrities, like, killing themselves and all that stuff. So it always just pissed me off, and I was like, what does it matter if I'm pretty? All it does is make boys walk all over me. And he had just talked about how he got caught cheating on his wife, so he was like, well, I can't really say anything about the guys treating you like trash, but whatever. And I was just like, "Rah!" I ended up alone at one point, and one of the staff came in, and he's like, "Do you want anything to eat?" And I was like, "No!" And I was like, "I'm fat and I'm ugly." He's like, "You're not fat." And I was like, "Yes, I am!" And he was like, "Well, do you want to talk about it?" I said, "No, I want to kill myself. God, it's like you're not even listening." And I like turned around like this and sat on the bench, and he was trying to talk to me, and I was just screaming at him. I was like, "None of you understand. All of you want me to live, and all I want to do is die, blah, blah, blah." So I was like shaking, and I was like stabbing my leg with my nails, and I was just like, "I want to die, I want to die, I want to die, I want to die." He was just like, "Okay, well, I'm going to make you a priority to see the nurse." But it took me forever to see the nurse. So finally, like, they pulled me in the back, and so I was thinking this one was going to be just like the last, and that I wasn't going to have access to my contact solution or my clothes or anything. So I wore my glasses, and they were like, "Oh, like, no, you can wear your clothes here, like, whatever." And I was like, "Really?" Like, I went without a bra and everything. But this one was much more not as structured. You didn't have really timelines of anything. Like, they had specific times that they served meals, but you could go to your room whenever you wanted. You could sleep all day, every day, if that's what you wanted. And that's what I did. So by the time I finally got put in, was like late at night, and everybody was asleep. So I was like, "Can I just shower? I'm disgusting." And they were like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Do you have shampoo, conditioner?" They're like, "No, we have soap." And I was like, "Fuck you guys. You really don't care about my hair. Can I at least bring my shampoo and conditioner from home?" So I once again did not wash my hair. The stuff they give you is not good quality in any way, shape, or form. The deodorant is crap. The toothbrush is crap. The soap is crap. Like, it's just all crap. And so I showered, and I still felt disgusting, but I showered, and then I changed into some clothes they gave me. So for the most part there, I just slept because I was allowed to. But the thing that sucked about this place is they took all my meds from me. I was on 5 medications, and I didn't have any. So I went from having 5 to 0 overnight. And as I'm sure you can imagine, I lost my shit. So I slept for as much as I could, and then I wasn't seeing the doctor, so I finally just like kind of exploded. And I'm talking like I was one of those people in the movies that you're like, "Oh my God, she's crazy, she lost it." I was screaming at everybody. I was like, "Fuck you. You can't help me. You all won't give me any medicine. You're all just keeping me here. You all want me to stay alive." Except I'm like screaming at the top of my lungs, and they're just like, "Okay." But the nice thing about when that if that were to happen in like outside or whatever, people would be like, "Oh my God, 911, she's insane." But inside there, like, they're sympathetic. They're like, "Calm down, like, you're okay, like, things are gonna be okay." And I'm like, "No, it's not!" I remember I was just like storming around, being mad. I laid myself down on the floor, and I just started scratching myself so hard. I actually still, I don't know if you can see it, I have scars right like here. I don't think you can really see it, but I have scars from scratching myself so hard. And after my little outburst, I saw the doctor pretty quick, And I continued to scream at the doctor, and I said, it's PMDD, you probably don't even know what that is. And they're like, yeah, we do. And I was like, oh, okay, really, sure you do. And then I was like, you can't help me, this is a gynecologist, I need a gynecologist, there's nothing you can do to help me, you can't do anything for me. And I was just going off on them so hard that the doctor was just like, I don't want to hear it from you, I don't want your attitude, get out. So then I stormed out, and okay, worked up. I stormed out, and I went to my room, and I just started like screaming and crying and throwing things everywhere. And your pillows are made out of just like towels shoved into a pillowcase, so they're actually pretty heavy. And I just took everything and laid it on my face, and I was like trying to suffocate myself. And I was surprised that nobody actually came in to stop me, because at the first mental hospital I went to, if you even tried for even 5 seconds to do something, they were on it and they took whatever you were trying to use away from you. But this place just did not seem to care. I knew they had cameras that saw into all the bedrooms because I saw them. And the poor girl I was sharing a room with came in and was trying to sleep, and I was just like like hyperventilating because I'm being suffocated. And eventually I calmed down, and then I went outside and I called my mom, and then I called my aunt, who also suffers from PMDD, and was able to talk to her. She was like, you know, one thing you can try to do is write. So I grabbed a piece of paper and I just wrote, I want to die, I want to kill myself. And one of the people walked by that worked there, and he was like, why? And I was like, because I want to. And he was like, I'm gonna have to report you. He's like, I don't want to, but you know. And I was like, go ahead, do it, report me, bitch, like I don't give a fuck. And then he like sat down with me. He was like, why do you want to kill yourself? And I just went off on this thing, and there were people sitting around us that were listening, and they were trying to chime in too. And once again I got hit with the, oh, but you're pretty, oh, but you have family that loves and cares about you. And I was just like, I don't care, like that doesn't mean anything, that doesn't fix anything. I still have, you know, all these things I can't deal with. So I just like felt like, you know, I was being guilt tripped for feeling the way that I was feeling, and I shouldn't be allowed to feel that way because of the way my life looks from an outsider's perspective. And then they started telling me their sob stories, and I was just like, hearing about what sucks in your life isn't going to make me feel better about mine. So then I calmed down, and the doctors came in, or nurses, whoever, and they tried to give me new medication. I said, what is this? And they're like, it's for bipolar. And I was like, I'm not taking it. And they're like, okay. Because I'm like, I'm not bipolar. It's PMDD. This shows you aren't listening to me. So I know now that I'm just going to have to fake being okay until you guys think I'm okay to let me go. And it was just so frustrating. Any woman that has PMDD or has like any women's problems knows what I'm talking about. When you try to talk to doctors about this stuff, it's like talking to a brick wall. You tell them exactly what you're feeling, exactly why you're feeling it, and they're just like, bipolar. And you're like, no. I'm like, I literally have 2 doctors and a therapist that all have said, yes, it's PMDD, and then you see me for 5 minutes and you think I'm bipolar, even though I've laid all this out for you. So I just went in there and I just put on the face to get out, and then I got out. So that's what my experience was like. I wouldn't recommend it for people unless it's like necessary. It's not a fun experience. The worst days of my life were when I was in a mental institution. You just go in, you wait for days to see a doctor for maybe 10 minutes, and then they just give you a quick diagnosis to get you out the door, put you on whatever medications to try to stop it, and then check back on you in a couple days and see if you're better. I only really had a couple doctors in both situations that I felt were actually listening and actually accepting what I was saying and believing me. The rest were just like, okay, she is crazy as fuck. Let's give her some medicine to numb her brain so hard she can't feel anything. Here you go. So that was my experience. I just thought I'd share it because I feel like most people probably don't even want to admit if they've been to a mental hospital. They probably wouldn't want to talk about it, but when you have a breakdown in front of like 20 people that you don't know, like I did, and they all see you at your worst, it doesn't really matter afterwards. So I don't really care if people know or not, because I feel like, you know, I've showed it all already. I don't care if people call me crazy. I already know I'm crazy. There's nothing you can say to me I haven't already said to myself, so why keep it in anymore, you know? I'm no longer going to keep things in for the benefit of other people, because it's my life at the end of the day, and they don't know what I'm feeling regardless of what they think of my situation or what they think from the outside. They have no idea. So don't let anybody tell you that your mental health isn't real, or that you're being over dramatic, or that you just need to get over it. Tell them to shove it and go piss off somebody else, because today is not the day, Satan. No, it's not. I hope that me doing this brings more awareness and does eventually make people more comfortable to talk about it, because the more we talk about it, the more normal it becomes. Almost everybody's depressed or has some kind of mental health issues. They just don't want to admit it. Don't even try to tell me otherwise, because I'm not going to believe you. At one point or another, everybody in their life's going to have some mental problems and not know how to deal with it, and we just need to make it a more well-known topic. Let's stop acting like people are crazy and just accept it as human emotions, because that's what it is. Well, now I'm all worked up from talking about going in to the hospital. I took an anxiety pill before this because I knew I was going to be like, da, 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 da. But it didn't work, obviously, so, but yeah, there's my story. Sorry if it was a little all over the place, but that's just the way I am. Okay, bye guys.